Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another LockedInLego video. For today, I'm coming at you with another clone or custom haul. This time, we got some brand new, super cool P1 clone troopers. I think the figures I got in here are some of the coolest they've made in a while. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this up, and then I'll show you the cool figures I got today. And here we go. Alright, we got lots of good stuff in here today, guys. So the first thing, we have our business card as always. Got some information on the back there. Alright, and then we have my order. I'll double check that and make sure everything's here later. And then right here, we've got 2 figures. And then of course, we got a weapons grab bag because I always get those because they're super cheap and I always need new weapons. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the awesome figures that I got today. First one being a Phase 1 212 Trooper with a couple cool weapons. And I'll go ahead and take him out of the bag so you can get a closer view at him. And the second one, the counterpart to that, which would be the 501st P1 Trooper. And this guy just looks super cool. So I'll go ahead and take these out of the bag and then we'll take a closer look at them. So first up, we have the P1 212 Trooper, and personally, I'm a really big fan of the Clone Army Customs P1 Troopers, because I just think the designs are really cool. And this one we never got to see in a movie, but this is exactly what I imagined that this design would look like, and it looks really phenomenal. The printing is pretty much the standard 212 printing that I'm pretty sure you can find on his P2 figures, so the only main thing different about this figure would be the helmet. And it just has, you know, the standard 212 design on there. And then, so I didn't get a head under this figure, it's just a plain black head. And then for the weapon here, we have the standard clone rifle. Go ahead and take that out of the hand. And then we just got the standard antenna on there. So yeah, pretty basic figure, but all around super cool, and I'm glad to add him to my collection. And next up, we have a P1 Trooper from everybody's favorite Clone Trooper Legion, the 501st. This guy follows the same basic principle as the 212 Trooper, where he has essentially the standard 501st body, just with a different head, but with a different helmet. And the helmet is pretty much exactly just a P2 501st design on a P1 helmet. Same thing for this guy, black head underneath. And I do have one complaint about this figure. There's a little bit of printing that's kind of, you can barely see it because it's really not a big deal. But a little bit of printing splashed up onto the fin there, which I don't think it's supposed to be there. But that's really not a big deal. And another thing I did notice about this figure is that I got an antenna for him as well. But when I go to put it in here, it kind of just falls down. It doesn't really stay in place. Which is, I don't know if that's just this helmet or maybe the antenna. But not too pleased about that, but it's really not, like I said, it's not that big of a deal because it's still a really awesome figure. And then for him we have the standard Clone Trooper gun right there, the DC-15, and yeah, not a big deal that he's got a couple flaws because he's still really cool, and I'm also glad to add this guy to my collection. And here's a quick look at the Clone Army Customs 501st Trooper compared to the LEGO version. Obviously LEGO doesn't make P1 versions of the 501st Trooper, and this is the only version we've got so far. But as you can tell, the base torso design is pretty much the same, and the Clone Army Customs does a little more arm printing than the LEGO version does. And you can see how this design is very well translated onto the Clone Army Customs design, and then it even wraps around all the way to the back here, which this one does not. It kind of cuts up at the top. Which just goes to show you how much extra work Clone Army Customs put into their figure as opposed to LEGO. But yeah. There's a quick look at the back view. Obviously Clone Army Customs is more detailed. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for this figure comparison. And then when we get into the 212 comparison, there's a little more, there's more differences on these two. With the LEGO version, the orange designs kind of go more onto the armor than they do in the Clone Army Customs design, but I think that it looks a little bit better on this one just because this is kind of like an aggressive amount of orange. And then on the legs here, it's more detailed and like specific on the Clone Army Customs version, while the LEGO one just has like orange paint everywhere. And then the arms, again, Clone Army Customs is better. And then the helmet is just pretty much the design translated up here, which looks real nice. But I do really love the LEGO version on here, and I'm not going to complain about that at all. But of course, this one is amazing as well, and that's all I got for this comparison. Next up, guys, we got our grab bag. This one is the number 3 grab bag, which I've gotten a couple times. I don't think the numbers actually correspond to anything, because there's different weapons in them every time. But let's go ahead and cut this open and see what kind of cool stuff we get. Alright, looks like we got a wide variety of weapons here. Starting us off, looks like we have 2 of these pink, it looks like the Han Solo gun, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Maybe it is though. Correct me if I'm wrong if you guys know what this is. It really looks like a DL-44, but I'm not quite sure. And then we have the Rebel, I think it's the A280, Rebel Trooper assault gun. And then we've got another Clone Trooper rifle in this nice chrome silver here. That's pretty cool. 2 Commando anti-armor guns with these huge attachments on the side. Pretty cool to get some of those. And then we've got a couple pistols here. I'm not quite sure what these are. This looks like a Rebel pistol, I think. I'm not too certain about this one. It's still pretty cool. And then we have the golden Rex pistol, which I don't know what I'll do with that, but that's pretty cool to have. And then just another gun here in black. So if we count these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weapons, which is actually a lot. That's more than we usually get in a grab bag. So that's a really good deal. And if I go ahead and pull out the weapons I got with the Clone Troopers, we got the blaster, another rifle, and then a vibro blade in black, and then a commando blaster. That brings us up to 14 weapons in this haul. Alright guys, so it's not the biggest haul we've ever had, but I do think it's probably one of the coolest I've ever gotten. I really love the 212th and 501st Troopers, and I'm really happy to add them to my collection. I have about 3 or 4 other P1 Troopers, and I'll show you those in a second. But just a few more remarks on these Troopers is that they're, if you guys are looking for some P1 Troopers, and you're not quite sure what to get, I would definitely recommend getting these 2 because they're on the cheaper side of the figures on the website, and they're certainly really cool and very iconic. And so these would be my recommendations for you. And with that, we'll go ahead and close out the video. Alright, so that's pretty much all I have for you today, guys, and I'm just going to leave you with this really awesome shot of all the P1 movie version troopers that I have from Clone Customs. We've got the medic over here, and then the purple Special Forces trooper, our new 501st and 212, and then our Battlefront 2 Phase 1 jet trooper is kind of leading the charge there. And like I said before, these are some of my favorite figures that the Clone Customs website has to offer, and I definitely plan to get a couple more in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next LockedInLego video. Thanks guys, bye.